I never mentioned that there were men as dark as this. Wow, look at that nose. He's just like a pig. He's a monster! Hi.
In today's episode, I'm joined by James of the Yin and Yang podcast. Wanted to thank you for joining me and give you the opportunity to tell people more about your podcast. So go ahead if you want.
Yeah, I run a podcast with my co-host Dan Yin. We talk about mainly Asian American focused issues. So a lot of our guests are Asian American artists, writers, directors, or just cool people in general. And we also talk to non-Asian artists. A previous guest of ours was Robert J. Arnold. He's a black man living in Taiwan. He does martial arts. We've also talked to, we've talked to other non-Asians as well. But our focus, because we are Asian American men ourselves, that's something that we have a kind of a fairly race-conscious podcast, but we generally talk about anything from martial arts to gender issues, which is, I think, why, Raphael, you reached out to me, and dating, relationships.
I wanted to start off by getting your take on dating as an Asian man. Is it easy, difficult? What's it like?
Yeah, if I could, take over a little bit, I'm curious, and I mentioned to you previously, what I'm curious about, just so that we're more and more open with each other, because I'm going to get real personal. And so I kind of want, to ask, the same.
You broke up again. You broke up again.
Yeah, I just want to ask the same openness from you as well. So can I ask, personally, what attracted you to this particular subject, particularly interracial dating, as it refers to Asian American female racial preference?
Okay, so for me, and I'll talk about this more in the one of the podcasts that we'll discuss. I went to a school that was mostly Asian in high school. So, you tend to surround yourself with people of a certain race. That's going to eventually lead to your attraction towards them, especially when you're young. And at that time, you can't really say that you liked women because they were Asian, because they would get really uptight about that. And I noticed that in addition to them not really being attracted to anything other than white guys. And that kind of bothered me, the double standard and the perhaps racism that was there. So after a couple of years, it took me a long time to find the courage to talk about this. So I decided to do it for my particular blog and talk about it there. That's why I did that.
Do you have a racial preference for your personal dating?
Yes.
May I ask what that is?
Asian.
You are when you say Asian, do you mean Southeast Asian, East Asian, South Asian? What's up?
East
Asian. So Japanese, Korean, and Chinese or Taiwanese, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so I see that you've personally probably have dealt with this kind of racism in your own life, and that's why you're trying to explore this kind of subject.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. No, I was curious because that was my hypothesis, because I was like, real talk, man. I was watching your vlogs, and I'm like, this fool got rejected by an Asian woman. Like, real talk. This guy got rejected from an Asian girl. Like, that's the feeling I got. And dude, I've been rejected too, and that pain that's real. That's real pain. Don't discount that, because where does this come from, and then what can we do about it? So to your question, so as an Asian man dating, let me give you so everything that I say, please understand that this is from my own personal experience. And for me to generalize it to the Asian American, Asian male community at large, I think is improper. However, what I can say is that from my personal experience, that I am not an isolated case. Let's just say that. Because I'm an Asian American male and I cannot read as anything other than Asian. Sometimes some people say I looked a little mixed, but we can talk about that. But for the most part, I'm going to share my own personal experience that there will be some similarities to other Asian American men in the community, but I'm not going to say it refers to all Asians in general. So real talk, I came back from Taiwan last week, and so I use Coffee Meets Bagel. It's an online dating app.
Heard
And
that, yes.
yeah. And I was on that for about. I took a break for a while because I was getting a little bit jaded, man. I was like, fuck, I'm getting kind of depressed from this shit. So I turned it off, and then I went back on it about 2 months ago. And I started, I touched up my profile. I made some like pictures better, and and then I tried to see if I got matches, and it was pretty dead. However, like after about 2 months, I got 8 matches or so, right? And they're pretty decent looking, and they were mostly Asian. I don't know how the algorithm works, but the algorithm, and I had set all my preference was like open to all, and I would swipe sometimes on non-Asian, but I noticed that I generally swiped slightly more when it was a Asian or Asian American female. I would say probably more. If I had to do a ratio, it'd probably be like 65-35 or something like that. It would be like, or even more, maybe 70-30. But also that was because I think the app was showing me more Asian women in general too. That's true. When so I got let's just say I'm making rough estimates. I got about 8 matches in about 2 months on Coffee Meets Bagel in Los Angeles area. Now I changed because I was going to Taiwan for like longer, for about 10 days or so. I was like, you know what? I'm curious. What's the dating scene? I had never really like tried the dating scene in Taiwan too much. So I switched the location to Taiwan, which is it's an island country next to China. Mm-hmm. And then that's where my family's from. And I speak Mandarin, conversationally well. So I changed it to Taiwan, and like no joke, man, like in 2 days, assuming the same swiping rate and liking rate, I got like 10 matches or something in like 2 days. So I got more matches in 2 days than in 2 months as an Asian American male. And in my profile, I said straight up, like, hey, I'm only in Taiwan for like this period of time.
Yeah.
So this is my personal experience, and like real talk, like I was like, oh damn, I'm more I'm
cutting off.
Yeah, sorry. I'm more socially, or I'm more attractive in Taiwan than America. That was a thought that I had. And how does that make me feel? I feel like it's like fuck. That's fucking sucks in a way, but at the same time, like, oh damn, shit, like then these were quality women that I was matching with. Maybe I should go back to Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for a few years back in the day, but I was like, maybe I should go back to Taiwan or something. So anyways, that was one experience I wanted to share with you. Yeah.
So would you say that, I guess, because you experienced that rejection in America, that it's because either you're an Asian guy, or that like maybe it was like the women were into like men of other races, like Asian women were dating white guys? Or was it just women in general that you're getting rejected by?
It's a tough question, man. I don't know. I don't know what these women are thinking. What I will tell you, though, from my experience and some of my research, but like I matched with this one girl on Tinder when I was still using Tinder, and she was a white lady, and she had something in her profile that was like "안녕하세요," "你好." It was basically like something in Chinese language, in East Asian languages. I was like, that's kind of suspect. But like, me, I'm like fucking, I'm curious. I'm like you, I'm curious, right? So I'm like, okay, let's date. She wasn't like, she's alright, she's pretty. So we went on a date, and like I straight up asked her, like, what's up with your profile? It's with the Asian languages. She's like, I only date Asian men. And this is like this is a white lady, couple generations in, white American, yeah. And and I asked her, like, what's up with that? Like, why is that? And she said she watched, like, I think it was like Meteor Garden, or one of those Asian Asian dramas, and she's like fell in love with it, and just thought Asian men were so attractive, right? Yeah. And then I was thinking to myself, oh shit, this is what Asian women feel like. I'm being fetishized. You know, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This girl's got yellow fever, but for like men, which we don't hear too much about, but it exists, especially with like BTS and K-pop and stuff like that now. But I just thought, I don't know, I felt kind of weird, man. So that was a clear, explicit example where I was chosen, I was swiped right on because of my race. And because, you know, and I'm not like, mainly because of my race, and also because I guess she found me attractive or whatever. So when it comes to dating, I think this resentment, this pain, similar to you, getting rejected, it started like in college.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in college, I was overheard a conversation from a girl that I was attracted to. Two girls, actually. They were talking to each other. And they were talking about how they thought white guys were so attractive, you know? And like, they were also talking about, like, you know, Keanu Reeves, who's like white passing, but he has like Asian blood or whatever.
Yeah, Asian, yeah.
Yeah, but he's white passing, let's be honest, right? And they were like, oh, he's so cute or whatever. And I don't know, I just felt like, and I was trying to like talk to these girls like afterwards, and like there was this clear feeling of they were not interested, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think the real talk, I think it was because of my race, you know? And then one of those girls told me like later, after I was like trying to like ask her out for like coffee or something, she's like, James, hey, you're cool, I think of you as my brother.
I've heard that Asian men say that, they hear that a lot. Yeah,
oh shit! I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna cuss a lot if that's okay, or
That's fine.
Yeah. Because I want to be real with you as much as possible, so that your listeners can feel it as much as possible. Because from then, I felt like I was a little bit hurt, and that I think that was the start of kind of my race consciousness about this WMAF sort of coupling and what that means. And for many years, I was really bitter about it, but I think I'm better about it now, and I kind of understand a little bit about how it's, like there's a lot of structural things that have been set up in this country that it's going to take a long time to change. I think we only can do the best we can, but like real talk, that shit exists, and let's not deny it, you know? Yeah.
You cut off
I
there.
don't think that answers your question, but whatever.
No, it's fine.
I don't think that answers your question, but
Okay. Before we get into the articles, I wanted to ask a little bit more about white male, Asian female. Like, what are your thoughts about it? You said you were bitter about it at first, but you changed. Like, how do you feel about Asian women dating white guys?
So I listened a little bit to your podcast, and there's interesting views. There's what's that girl's name? Peggy? What's her name? Let's see here.
Just give me the number. I say which one.
Oh yeah, it's Phoebe Wong, you know, and I listened I listened to the first half of that, and like super positive, love that girl. She's super positive, very like she reminds me of one of my cousins, like very, as far as her mentality, you know, like very very positive. But like real talk, like some of your commenters said, like super naive, right? Like it's like The Secret. It's like I can be so fucking positive that these problems will go away. You know?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's in a position where it's like you don't feel it, so you can't really relate to the issues that that are being said from the male side, I guess.
Right. Like for like real talk, I don't know what it means to be like a Latino man or a Hispanic man in America. You know, there's a lot of shit like you probably have to deal with that. I'm not gonna even try to be like, hey man, I totally understand. Like, there's some shit I don't get. But what I will say is that, bless her heart, I think there is something about being, not being, because being hella bitter about it, being hella angry about it, that in itself is not really doing anything. That's not really creating anything. So that's why I commend you for like having this conversation, because that's actually doing something. You're creating content where it's creating other people to question maybe their preferences and also have a discussion about this topic. So about WMAF, statistically, we can look at the statistics. There's a Pew Research, whatever. Asian American females, so specifically Asian American, so not Asian immigrants, but specifically Asian American females, outmarry at a much higher rate than Asian American males when we're talking about to their own race. And we're going to talk, so that's what the Pew Research says. And because America is a predominantly white country, then the assumption is that the outmarriage is predominantly towards white male. Now, where did this stem from? Your other guest talked about it. I think it was episode, hold up. It was like, I think it was either 114 or 113, 113. She talks about the Page Act. There's also the Chinese Exclusion Act. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff that set up Asian American men to fail, and they talk about that in a very offensive rom-com as well. There's historical Asian Americans or Asians, the Chinese were the first race to have a racist policy implemented against them. That was until the more recent Muslim ban act. But like basically it's the same shit. It's like Chinese Exclusion Act basically made Asian men like fucking. They didn't have any women, and then the first women that were able to come over, like a lot of them had to be prostitutes in order to survive, which is where you get the Asian American or Asian dragon lady stereotype. But that number dropped dramatically. I think it was after post 19. I'm reading this book right now called what is it? Is it fucking? I'm reading a book right now about Asian. Well, about ethnic history in America, and it's kind of crazy how these systems have been set up where like it's systemic, like it's real systemic from the laws. Now, long story short, the WMAF does exist. Statistically, it's shown, and I see it in my own private life. I see that in my own like relatives that are my female relatives that date Asian white men. So what is that like? So how do I feel about that? I feel like that's that preference that they have. Let's not lie and say that it's only a preference. Let's be real. Our preferences are informed by our environment and by our genetics, by whatever. If we want to be scientific about it, preferences are informed by nature and nurture. If you grow up in a racist society, which America was built on racism, slavery, the Mexican-American War, the fucking Louisiana Purchase, like all that shit, like that stuff, America was built on racism. And to say that racism has not sort of poisoned our dating preferences at all is naive and stupid. Well, it's not. I don't want to be judgmental. It's naive, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was my next question? What do you? We're going to talk about the articles and the Celeste Ng's article and a very offensive rom-com in a second, but. What are your thoughts right now on Asian women addressing white male, Asian female? Like, do you think that the way in which they're going about it is addressing the issue? Like, what are your thoughts about like what the current narrative is in terms of Asian women addressing this controversy?
What I want, I'll get to your question. What I want is more Asian American men to share their narrative. So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. Because the narrative right now, bless their heart, I fucking love Asian American women for stepping up. Bless their heart. Right now the narrative is controlled by Asian American women when talking about this subject. Yo Wei Shaw, Natalie Tran, Celeste Ng, all those girls that you had, all the women that you had on your podcast recently. Sorry, I don't be hella sexist and shit, using girls and stuff. But yeah, the women that you had, the very intelligent women that you've had on your podcast so far, talking about this subject. I listened to the Will Cho one too. Interesting take. So how do I feel about it? Thank you. Fucking great. Let's talk about this shit. Let's talk about it. Let's be open about it, and let's be real about it. And I think Yowei Shaw is probably one of the most researched. Her podcast is probably one of the more researched and more nuanced topics on the subject I've heard in a long time. And the to your question, I think it's great that we're having more conversations about it. And my feeling about it is that, even with Celeste Ng, who I think fairly problematic, her and a lot of other Asian American females saying how they are not attracted to Asian American men, but then they're being attacked. That's fucked. Let's lay this out. That's fucked up. They should not be attacked for bringing up the subject and saying like, oh, hey, this is my opinion on something. They're being honest. I appreciate her honesty. However, I think there are more constructive ways to talk to instead of like attacking them and saying like giving them death threats. That's fucked up. Come on, you guys. No question. Like real talk. I'm gonna lay this out right now. If you're like sending death threats and sending really like if for the Asian American men who are harassing these women, don't, because that's actually just making shit worse. That's making the divide. Because guess what? We're all part of the same community, Asian American community, and also at large, we're all part of one human race, right? I mean, that's the eventual goal. Like plurality is like we're all different, but we're all the same. Don't feed fuel to that fire. At the same time, here's what I'm gonna say, and that's why I sent you that article from Oxford Condo. Is like, well, let's look at that anger instead of dismissing it outright. Let's take a look and listen. So Marilyn Manson, he said when he was asked about the Columbine shooting and like what he would say to those kids, he said, "I would listen." Okay? I would listen. And I think that's something we need more of. We need some more listening and understanding where that anger comes from, and like saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm listening to you." And guess what? You can just call them out. Like, you know what? Your concept of A, B, and C is fucked up, but I can see why but I'm listening to your anger, and that's something I wish there was more of. Yeah, and I think Yowei Shaw is trying to do that, is listening to that anger, especially with the C. There's L and C, right? So yeah.
I first want to bring up Celeste Ng's article though before I bring in my points and what I thought about that article in terms of why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
What did you think about that article specifically? Do you think that it covered the issue the way it needed to be covered? Did you think that it was a good article? What were your thoughts?
Like, dude, I think my man, Oxford Condo, dude, like his response to Celeste Ng's article or her, I think that shit is like the most nuanced response more nuanced and more articulate than I could even come up with. Because basically he said in so many words what I just said, that Celeste Ng has a right to be fucking angry at like being harassed this way. That's fucked up. She should not be harassed in this way. At the same time, she's got to like fucking understand where it's coming from, And for her to say like, "Oh, I don't find Asian American men attractive because they make me look like I think they look like a cousin." She's apologized for that.
Yeah.
But like just think of how that's gonna make your son feel, or how is that gonna make an Asian man feel when he reads that, and to the podcast that you listened to with Jeff Mann, he heard his sister say that. C also heard his sister say that, and look how fucking traumatizing, how damaging that is to someone's psyche.
Yeah.
Now, let's say this. Women they do not owe anything to men. That's something one of your guests said previously. Women do not owe men they do not owe men their ego. Like, they're not there. Women are not there to be cheerleaders to male ego. Okay.
Sorry. Sorry, you got cut off. Women don't owe men what?
Women don't owe men to be cheerleaders to their ego. Okay. Women don't owe men their ego. Okay. I think that's a problem a lot of times with this discussion with a lot of Asian male rights activists is that they feel like these Asian women owe them sex, validation, all that stuff, and but where does that come from? And I think like at the end of the day, there's trauma, and there's real talk about racial trauma. Like what is racial trauma? It's like the trauma of being a minority in America. That shit is real, okay? So what I thought about Celeste Ng's article, I would just say I would defer you to Oxford Condo's article about the controversy of Celeste Ng, and I would also say that from reading it, I mean, the feeling I got, yeah, her focus was about the harassment that she was receiving from Asian American men, and I think she is valid to point that out, and I hope that shit stops. But I don't know if she's really. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she's really like addressed the issue of white patriarchal power in that article. I don't know if she really like it's basically the elephant in the room. Is like, so what? Like, so what about the white patriarchy? Like, right now you're attacking Asian American men that deserve it, the fuckers that are harassing her. But what about the white patriarchy in the system? Like, yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, what about you? I'm curious about your thought. Yeah.
I got a lot of thoughts about it. This might take a while, but I really wanted to dissect into this because I feel like in this particular instance, there are some Asian women who are looking to do damage control and aren't sincere about addressing the issues. And I think that Celeste Ng is one of those women. There are 3 reasons why I say that. First is the title of the article. She says, when Asian women are harassed for marrying non-Asian men. Celeste, you're talking about Asian women dating white guys. This is what the harassment is about. It's not about dating black guys, not about dating Latino guys. It's about dating white guys. The fact that she writes the article in that way and frames it in that particular light shows me that she's already not trying to engage on the actual issue itself. You're not talking about just white guys. You're trying to throw other people in and say, no, it's about out-marrying. Asian women are harassed for out-marrying by Asian men. That's not what they're getting harassed for. The second thing that she did was in the first paragraph of the article, which I didn't like, and I'll read it. The men who harass me know 3 things. I'm Chinese American, my husband is white, and our son is multiracial. You hate Asian men, they insist. You hate your own child. You hate yourself. I once received 27 tweets calling me everything from irrelevant to liar to coward to neglectful gaslighting mother in 48 hours from one person. I saved these messages in a folder on my computer to document the abuse. Whenever I upgrade my laptop, I copy them over, little pockets of poison I must keep and carry forever. Between that title and the first paragraph, her agenda at this point, in my opinion, is to try and garner sympathy from people who don't really know the nuances behind white male, Asian female. If she was trying to be sincere, she could have brought up the fact that she, like you said, had said that she didn't find Asian men to be attractive in that first paragraph, and then talked about the harassment that she received to make it seem that the harassment, if she's getting death threats, okay, that's too far. But the anger, there's certainly a reason why there's anger there. But she's not even addressing that at all until the middle of the particular story. She's just trying to say, oh my God, I'm getting harassed for out-marrying, I'm out-marrying, I'm progressive. It's sickening, in my opinion, that she's just trying to garner sympathy for something that isn't really something that, at least in Celeste Ng's case, she's innocent of. Like, she's part of the problem, in my opinion. And trying to reframe it and just doing that is just, I found it disingenuous. The third issue that I had, and the most disgusting part, was the black male and Asian female couple. She cites several instances of like Asian women in movies with white guys or dating white guys like Mimi Wong or Christine Tan, I think. But this is what she says about the black and Asian couple. On Reddit, users speculate freely about Asian women's sexual relationships. Perhaps she settled for a black guy because she couldn't snag a white boyfriend, suggests a thread on writer Jen Fang, who is the founder of Asian American blog Reappropriate and is married to a black man. Another reads, she probably dated the village of white guys before she dated a black guy to be edgy and further her SJW career. That last quote, yeah, you probably were trying to virtue signal, but that's not the point. in that article, it's clear that she was desperate, Celeste was, to find a black guy. That's what it was with an Asian woman. Like, can I find somebody who's not white, who's dating an Asian woman or married to an Asian woman, so I can make this seem that it's not about anti-blackness, it's not about, you know, hating Asian men, it's about being progressive and being attacked for being progressive. Oh my God, we're dating a black guy and they still are harassing us. Ooh, it's to the untrained eye, it seems like that was, you know, genuine, but to somebody who knows that this was just trying to spin it in a narrative that makes them look innocent, it looked really, really disingenuous. And I just didn't. If you're going to be sincere about this, Celeste, I think you should talk to Jen Feng's husband and see how he feels about being used as a token for your, you know, white male, Asian female agenda. I don't think being in a scenario where you say, okay, there's a black guy married to an Asian woman is something that a black guy who's probably used to being tokenized in many cases would really like to, you know, see happen in your article. So from my perspective, that really got under my skin. But in general, for those three reasons and for others as well, I found the article to be bullshit, to be honest. That's an example of somebody who's trying to do damage control and is not trying to engage in a discussion that really looks into why there's so much anger and why this has gotten so, in some cases, very toxic on the other side. You're just trying to say, oh, I'm getting harassed for no reason. No, there's a lot of Asian women who have said fucked up things to men who aren't white. And I think that it's, to completely disregard that is not only disingenuous, but disrespectful. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, my thought on that is that, so Celeste, she wrote a short story about this Asian girl as she falls in love with like this Asian American man or Asian man. I thought that was well written, and I didn't know too much about her until like I read that story like because I was looking for Asian American writers to read about, and then this story came up with the article about her writing about her like not being attracted to Asian men, and I think one thing that Oxford Condo talks about that sort of what you're talking about as well is the conversation about really engaging the other the other side, and like really looking into racism. So what's racism? So like the dictionary defines racism as prejudice or prejudice. What the fuck is it? You know, prejudice against a particular group of peoples because of their race, and assuming that your race is superior to theirs, right? So racism here is that she values whiteness over other races.
Yeah.
All right. And the people, and if you look at Oxford Condo's article, is that if that's the hypothesis, I think she's proud about her Asian American culture, and she's also proud. I can't speak for her, but from the people that she's aligned with, like Esther Koo and some of the other like kind of Esther Koo's a racist comedian who and she's also aligned herself with some other people as well that are a little bit questionable in their beliefs. Other women that have basically played into the proximity of power to whiteness. It's a little bit like, oh, okay, that's kind of suspect, right? But where does that come from? And how can we, instead of like damning her, how can we look at that and look at something that we can change, right? And sure, no, we can call her out on it. I'm not saying like don't like we shouldn't call her out, but what I'm saying is also that harassing her and calling her names and shit, that's not solving anything. And I think her, just like all these women that put whiteness over other races, they are subject to they're also part of a broken system, right? I am also part of this broken system that needs to change. And some people are more complicit than others, and some people are more unaware than others. And all we can hope to is bring awareness. But the thing is that at the same time, I have empathy for her, okay? Because she even said that she's trying to unlearn that lack of attraction towards Asian men, you know, and where that came from, you know. So hey, props for giving that effort. At the same time, you know, I think what you said, hey man, your anger is valid as well. I'm not gonna deny your anger about that, and the things that you did not, like her, like calling, like, oh, bringing up this one black example. Okay, you know, maybe that's subject to scrutiny. But what I want to do is like, and I think what's great about what your podcast and what I'm trying to do with my podcast is like, let's talk to these people. Let's not condemn them outright. Let's try and figure out what's going on behind the veil of the written word. Like there's the other article you've mentioned before from Michelle Worth where she's talking about how she's so happy to have a white baby, right?
Yeah, I've talked to her.
You spoke to her about it?
91, episode 91.
And 91. Okay. And dude, that's props to you for talking to her. Like, cause I look at that post and I'm like, and she wrote like a post rebuttal to that, and like, you want to talk about mental gymnastics? That shit was like mental gymnastics. Reading her follow up post, you know. So I still need to check out your episode 91, but like, it's so crazy, like how unaware or self aware some of these people are. And how they don't want to call them out. How they don't want to look at themselves and look at, oh shit, maybe I've swallowed some of this poison. This poison that she talks about, these packets of poison she's talked about, Celeste Ang, guess what? She has swallowed some of that poison herself. I've been guilty of that shit too. And I'm not gonna fucking lie and say here I'm a saint. But like, yeah, like I've sometimes been like, oh, you know what? I'm not really attracted to like, you know, non-Asian women. You know, sometimes I would find myself thinking that, and I realize, okay, well, why is that? And I have to look at myself and be aware, like, oh shit, I think there's some racism in my background, right? So like real talk, I started working. So I had this kind of mentality of like I didn't find like brown or black people, women that attractive from high school and part of college, but then like I started working in Oakland, and that's predominantly black area, right? And I was just like, oh, there's seeing a lot more black people. A lot of my coworkers were black. And I was just like, fuck, dude, some of these women are bomb, dude. Like real talk, some of these women are fucking fire. And what's up with like what's up with my mentality? Where did that come from? And I think also part of it is what I think episode 113, the she's from like Australia or whatever.
112.
112, yeah. When she's talking about how like 112 was Will Cho. I forget.
Oh, sorry, 111.
111, yeah. So how she was talking about your background, like real talk, that plays if you grew up in predominantly like Asian or predominantly white, that's gonna affect like a lot of my homies, like white homies that grew up in my area, which was predominantly Asian, which you grew up in predominantly Asian area, it sounds like too. Like yeah, it's crazy, but like that shit kind of sets your preferences a little bit, you know. And what's up?
Especially when you're young.
Yeah, when you're young, your brain's growing, you got the hormones and shit, and you're probably like jacking off. And like you're like, you know, who you think about when you jack off? You think about the girl you saw in class, right? You know, like, and who's that? What's that race gonna be? Going back to offensive rom-com, he talks about ejaculation and the wiring of the brain and shit. So yeah, I started becoming more attracted to like women of other races when I started being more exposed. And when I was in college, I went to college at UC San Diego. There was an Asian girl. She was cool. I wasn't like we're just friends. I didn't think of her in like I was all like, damn, I want to get with her. But she was like a cool like floor. We lived in the same building, and we were talking a little bit about dating. And she was like, you know what? She grew up kind of like in mainly like white area, And UCs, like even back then, UCs were predominantly Asian, right? Or like there's a large population in the UC system, the University of California system, a lot of Asians. And she was like, you know what? I didn't really think Asian guys were that attractive, but damn, I'm seeing a lot more of them, and like fuck, some of them are like pretty hot. And I think she's like with the Asian guy now. I'm not too sure, but in whatever the case, I think that's a big part of it. Exposure. There's media exposure. There's also exposure in your life that kind of affects your preferences. Yeah.
Okay. But in regards to just to wrap up the Celeste thing, I think your position is more of like, okay, maybe it wasn't covered the best way, but she's taking a step forward by at least addressing it. Is that?
Yeah, she's talking about it, and I think your points about that the anger that you felt about it. If you feel that anger, that means you're probably not alone, and those are the points that you've mentioned. Some of the shortcomings of her article, there, and also some of the people that she's aligned with, like Esther Koo or whatever, following the fallout of her tweets, show that someone is still, in some ways, trying to self-protect a little bit. Certain ideas that she does not feel are wrong, but are actually, playing into proximity of power and whiteness. These are things that I think she's working at, and I'm glad for her that she brought out some of those. Even though it's not in the first paragraph, at least she brought it out in I think it was like the third, fourth paragraph.
18th.
Yeah, 18th. Oh damn, you keep notes. Okay.
Yeah.
At least she brought it up. I mean, there's a version of that article where she didn't bring up that shit at all, and I have to give her some credit of actually talking about it, but I think if you look at Oxford Condo's response, the anger that has resulted, the anger that you feel is not an isolated thing. It's that's something that needs to be listened to. Like with the example I told you about Marilyn Manson, to be listened to, and let's figure that shit out, because she's got a multiracial son, and I really hope the fucking best for him. I hope the fucking best, because there's another guy. There's what's that guy's name? Eurasian Tiger or some shit. He He wrote this
Eurasian
blog.
Tiger?
Yeah. He's really he says some fucking crazy some crazy shit. Let's be honest, right? But where does that come from? He is a biracial kid, and his fucking father was a white supremacist. That shit's gonna fuck you up. And from what I read, and the suicidal ideations and the pain that he talks about, it's fucked him up. And I'm glad that he's being more self-aware, but at the same time, some of his shit is a little bit too extreme for me. Real talk, yeah.
He was in Natalie Trent's documentary. It's one of those scenarios I think I don't want to speak for him. I haven't talked to him directly, but I think that without his bringing it out unapologetically, I don't think we're having this conversation.
Yeah, real talk.
So, you needed somebody like that to just be fuck this, regardless of how intense it is, to really move the narrative from where it was, I guess, 5 years ago, which wasn't being discussed at all. Because when you're dating neo-Nazis as an Asian woman, I think we need to start having a conversation about who you date. Listen, we can talk about Asian women. Nobody owes Asian women anything. You're dating neo-Nazis. There's a problem. You shouldn't be dating.
You've read that article about the alt-right and their alignment with Asian women and their alignment with the alt-right, yeah?
Yeah.
That's fucking scary shit, man. And look, man, I've got a newborn niece, okay? My brother got a kid recently, and dude, I fucking I want to make sure that she doesn't get fetishized, there's some shit, there's some violence against Asian women that I don't want fucking any of that shit to come near her, but that shit's real. And also that stuff about the alignment with white supremacy, that shit's real too. And I just hope, that we can only hope we can help raise our young boys and girls in this country with a mind for openness and for inclusivity and for connection across races, and also to be like fucking, you know, stand up for yourself, you know, don't stand for like shit like white supremacy. But you know, that's some shit I worry about, man. Like, that's real talk. Yeah, I mean, like, for yourself personally, have you faced outright racism in the dating pool? Is this where this anger comes from, maybe, or it's just something that yeah, I'm just wondering where the energy comes from to approach a subject. So like, you've got like, I want to say, like, you've hit this topic real hard. I'm looking at your channel. Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up specifically in the very offensive rom-com topic, but I'll talk about it a little bit here. Asian women are very hypocritical, in my opinion. They can be very racist, and the anger comes from, one, the denial of that for a very long time, and two, the attempts to damage control now that the cat's out of the bag. So, you mentioned coffee meets bagel, for example. I mentioned this one time in a previous video. In 2014, 2015, when it was brand new, I tried that when I got out of undergrad. I didn't get a match for 4 months at all. But when I started taking classes at Harvard, Asian women, not necessarily even at Harvard, some at Harvard, but some at public schools, were now matching with me and saying, what's Harvard like? So if I feel as though I need a Ivy League degree to even get a match with an Asian woman who is going to tell me that my dating preferences are fucked up, I think it's time to check the opposition. Because I think that the hypocrisy, and again, we're going to talk about the podcast, is so deep and it's so wrong that, like, you're talking about years and years and years of this. It gets to a point where it's just like, okay, we're gonna play this game. We're gonna have a conversation where it's like, I'm gonna bring up my side of it, and we're gonna show exactly how hypocritical you are. So, you know, the Celeste Ng stuff, I expected that, and to me that was damage control from somebody who would not have mentioned this at all 5 years ago because she didn't feel the need to. And only because of the fact that people were willing to call her out on it did she feel the need to make that damage control article. But I'm not want to go back to the Celeste Ng. I'm just saying that the anger comes from the idea that Asian women thought they were above the law, and now that they're being called out on their shit, they feel as though the criticism isn't warranted because they never felt as though they had the right to be criticized to begin with. It's like, oh my God, I don't know where this is coming from. I'm so used to being worshipped and telling men, policing men who they, you know, in terms of their dating lives, this shouldn't be happening to me. And that idea that, like, I'm above it, more than anything else, gets under my skin. You know, and I'll get to that in the podcast. That actually leads to my next question. I'll get more into that in the podcast, but that we're going to talk about now, the very offensive rom-com. What were your thoughts on C and L? I'll give you my thoughts afterwards, but I want to get your thoughts on that first.
I think I understand. Hey man, I've been rejected from women or Asian women as well, and I think there's a little I could find in myself when I was listening to that podcast also a little bit of that anger rising. Mm-hmm. And I have to understand there. I want to say I'm different from those women, those men that have attacked Celeste Ng, those Asian American rights activists who say some terrible things. But at the end of the day, like, we're all human, and I have to be honest, like, I kind of see where I could see the danger of myself falling into that, of being so resentful, of being so fucking angry all the time. Being angry all the time is fucking so tiring. And I meditate more. I try to take care of myself more, a lot more self-care. And I'm also looking into my own trauma. The trauma of separation as a child, trauma of my own family. And so going back to the podcast, C and L. L is trying to fuck herself out of racism. She's trying to fuck her way out of racism, right? That's what they talk about in Escape from Plan A, a podcast I highly recommend. And she's coming from a place of power, let's be honest. She can date the fucking rainbow, because it sounds like she's an attractive Asian female. And guess what? I probably want to date her too if she's really that hot. If I saw her picture and she's super hot, like, fuck, I'll probably swipe right on that, you know? And let's talk about privilege, right? Real talk, I think black and Hispanic men have a real hard time dating Asian American women because of a lot of things you've talked about in past podcasts. Asian American men have it, but to be honest, we probably don't have it as bad as you and your homies, right? Sorry, as black people and Hispanic people. I don't. And then so there's a little bit of resentment there when I heard about that, like her basically using men of color as a way to get to basically push her prerogative. And Yowei Shaw, she calls her out on that. And there's also a little bit of resentment when I look at the people who are sharing this narrative. Yowei Shaw is someone who, I believe her fiance is white, and also a lot of people who are writing these articles, they Natalie Tran, their significant other is white. There's women in my life, women that I highly respect, Asian American women who are making big moves in the film. I do some film and TV stuff. They have white partners. So I am not going to lie to you and say that doesn't bother me at all. Does it bother me a lot? Not really, because I know these people, the people who are close to me, I know them, and I know that when people are in relationships, there's a hierarchy of what shit's most important, right? To say race is not in that structure at all is being naive. But saying we have similar values, similar tastes, there's some cultural things that we both like about each other. If those things, these things, values and belief systems, if those things take more priority, I'm like, dude, that's totally fine to date white people. Asian women can date white men. That's fine. That's totally fine. However, if the hypocrisy you mentioned about, if whiteness is not in, if they say that whiteness is not part of that at all, I'm going to be like, huh? Come on, at all, girl? Real talk? It was not figured in at all. So C, I thought his story is more attractive to me. Why is that? His story is not discussed as much, the Asian American male perspective. Elle's story I thought was interesting in the sense that she was trying, however flawed, to try to get her white patriarchy system out of her system. But by trying, they say something about David Mamet says something about invent nothing, deny nothing. She's trying to invent this system, this paradigm, to pull herself out of racism. But by doing so, she's found herself objectifying black males, right? And then she's, you know what? Oh, I'm gonna settle for an Asian man who she found attractive at the same time. So, to begin with, right? Asian men. So what does that say? Hey, interesting approach. I've kudos for her for trying that approach. However, I look at that approach and I think to myself was it needed? I think maybe it was a process that she had to go through, and and there's something about her systemizing it and trying to do something about this poison that she swallowed. There's something about that that's really interesting. Now, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to judge. I'm not sure.
I can't.
What's that?
You paused and then it got cut off. So
oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, what I was gonna say about L is that it does show L and C's stories do show a gender divide in the Asian American community. C's story, and this was mentioned in the Escape from Plan A's podcast, he suffered more. Let's be honest. She suffered, but the way that she's talking, these are just two cases, okay? They're not Asian American at large, but in these two cases, C has suffered more, and he's caused suffering to others because of the trauma he's received about his sister saying that she doesn't find Asian men attractive. L, what's her trauma? Her trauma is like, oh, I've only been fucking white guys. Oh, that sucks. I shouldn't do that. I'm gonna fuck other men of other color and see if that changes me. Okay, interesting experiment. And to be in that position where you can fuck the rainbow is a position of power. And there's a lot of Asian men. Damn, maybe there are a lot of Asian men who get laid and get to fuck the rainbow, whatever. But in C's situation, and because of the statistics, that's more of the exception than the case. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in C's case, I'm fucking happy for him, and he's like someone I really hope other men like him, or men who are like looking to white supremacy. Come on, looking to white supremacy for a solution, dude. Like, listen to C's story, because like that shit's not gonna solve your fucking problems. White supremacy is gonna make your problems worse and hate yourself more. And I thought C's story was more interesting than L's, but I thought that the two stories being brought up were interesting. But at the end of the day, the main thing I took away was like, damn, I want more Asian American men talking about this and being in a position of power to talk about this topic, because the stuff that you and I have been reading, most of that's been written by Asian American females. Love them. I fucking love you guys for writing. Love you ladies for writing that. But we need more men talking about this.
Yeah. I'm gonna say what I really feel in this particular instance because of obviously the Black and Hispanic perspective. But I wanted to preface that by talking about C for a second. The nose thing, the thing where he did, tried to change his nose because he was in white supremacy. That was. I think I can't understand what it's like as an Asian guy to like be in a position where, women in general, regardless of their race, may not find you attractive, and the level of pain that might incur. But like that, to the extent to which he was, white supremacy, I guess, tried to, it really made him want to change who he was. Like that was. I don't know. It's sad. It's
that
sad.
shit hurt me, man. That hurt me, dude. When I heard that, yeah.
But what hit me home was the L part. Obviously, and I'll read the quote. I've read it before in previous episodes, but given that we're talking about it, might as well. So what I thought I was just doing was paying attention to the guys like I found attractive, but with just one thing I started to realize as I was swiping past faces was that it was like almost this instantaneous thing where I would see like a black face or like someone who looked like Latinx, and I would like almost instinctually start to swipe. I was unconsciously like rejecting people because of literally like the color of their skin. I was literally giving white faces a chance that I was not giving black and Latinx faces. And then she does the experiment. She goes on a date with a guy who doesn't know he's being used as an experiment. He's making out with her. She's not feeling anything. He might have been into it. She doesn't go past the second date with any of these guys. Okay. You have to understand, as I mentioned before in the very beginning, you grow up in a school that's mostly Asian, right? You know that these women aren't interested in you because of your race, either due to structural racism from like family members, or xenophobia, or just a preference for white guys. In that scenario, you try to look like you're not one of the rest of like the hood rats in the hood, which causes you to like doubt yourself as a black or Hispanic guy. That doesn't work. And if you point this out to Asian women, they say, oh, you have yellow fever. So not only do they get to reject you, they get to reject you under the premise as though, like, you're the problem. Like, it's not that I don't like black guys and I need to change my views about that. It's that you have yellow fever because you like Asian women and your preference is problematic, even though if you did everything that I asked for in a man, I still wouldn't date you because of your race. So you're being gaslighted for years and years and years and years. And you put up with that shit. That's where the resentment comes from. That's where it builds up. You get so sick of it that you start to, like, I don't know, do blogs about this, and you start interviewing people about this stuff. You hear more racist shit. You hear more excuses. And then you see people like Celeste Ng writing articles pointing to people, not necessarily you, but like Asian guys or guys in general, saying, oh, I'm getting harassed by these people. Look at woe is me. Celeste Ng, where were you in 2008 when everybody was talking about yellow fever? Where were you when the Asian women who were talking about Asian women aren't your fetish, talking about how they dated white guys at the same time? Where were you calling out that hypocrisy? You weren't anywhere because you were comfortable dating a white guy and telling everybody else who they can and can't date. So I don't have sympathy for that in that regard, because if you were sincere about having this conversation, you wouldn't have waited until somebody on the other side exploded to gaslight them further and make them seem like they're crazy.
Yeah.
Under that, to make things worse, you continue to push forward and you continue to be unapologetic in pointing this stuff out. And what do you hear? A podcast where Asian women still don't want to hear about their lives being policed, but want to police your life, your dating life. Or, in Yoe's case, engaged to a white guy. Then are using you as an experiment in which they're not even attracted to you, but they're trying to make themselves feel better about their racism that you had to put up with for all these years. And in Yoe's case, she's proud of her. She thinks that what she did was brave. What am I supposed to take from that, all those years, all that pain, all that resentment, all that hypocrisy, to hear that I'm being used as an experiment from people who would have not only blamed me for my preference, but would have made it seem as though I was crazy by saying, oh, there's a black guy married to an Asian woman like Jen Fang, you're just making a big deal out of nothing. When that guy might have had to go to Harvard or make $100,000 a year to even get in the window for some of these Asian women. I'm not supposed to be resentful. I'm not supposed to say anything to these Asian women to say, hey, you're fucked up for using me as an experiment. You do owe me something, a fucking apology. You do owe these men something, a fucking explanation. Asian women do owe not a date, but an ability to at least empathize with the opposition, given that they wanted to shove down their narrative down everybody's throat for all these years. So it's just, I know I'm getting really angry, but it's like I have to sit here and listen sometimes to people tell me that I'm nothing because of the color of my skin, who know full well that I'm attracted to them and I will pursue them anyways, knowing that if I said any of that to them, they would just block me or never want to talk to me again, because they have the ability to say, I can just find another one like you who will do whatever I want, and I can use them as an experiment and somebody will still fuck me. I'm in that position, and I'm very resentful for the fact, not just because of the fact that they weren't willing to admit this for so long, but after the narrative finally being put in a position where they have to acknowledge it, they're doing damage control. They're trying to make the people who are angry seem like they're not worth anything. They're trying to make us seem like, we're making a big deal out of nothing to being used as an experiment. There is, I'll wrap it up with this. There is a lot of pain. I don't know how badly you feel about this stuff, but for a lot of guys, there's a lot of pain associated with what Asian women have done to men of color, including Asian men, and how white male, Asian female has devalued some of these men who were thought of as the problem for liking Asian women because they had yellow fever. And until that is addressed in a way that doesn't make Asian women look like the victim and actually acknowledges that pain without any excuses, the anger is only going to get worse. That's how I look at it. You've got to stop, if you're an Asian woman, you've got to stop trying to find a way to make these men look like they're the crazy people. You're just going to make them angrier. That's just the reality. I don't know what you think about that, but that's my take on that.
Raphael, thank you for your courage for sharing that, man. I really appreciate that. Like, That's no joke. Like, because real talk, you're right. There's some Asian women who might watch this and be like, fuck, this guy's a fucking angry ass motherfucker. But you know what? Kudos to you for sharing, man. Fucking, yes, get that shit out. Because what you said is true. Like, there's a hypocrisy out there. That's what Oxford Condon talks about. The hypocrisy. What makes people angry is not necessarily the choice itself, but the hypocrisy about it. Like, I can do I can date a white man and tell other people like, oh, you have an Asian fetish. All these non-white men who want to date me. Oh, you guys have an Asian fetish? But that white guy? Fuck, I love that guy. That's nothing wrong with that. Love is love, right? If love is love, then why are these statistics coming out? You know, does that mean black men are scientifically more unattractive than white men? Like, no, come on, man. If love is, so it's kind of like all lives matter, right? Right? The all lives matter movement and shit, right? When people say, "Oh, love is love," that's just my fucking that's just a preference. I'm not influenced by my environment at all. That's the same shit as saying all lives matter, kind of. It's kind of like, well, there is a fucking problem. Let's look at the numbers. Or I can just walk down the street of Santa Monica and I see all these fucking WMAF. I don't know their story. Some of them are, maybe there's some reality to like the love that they have with each other. But some of that is racially influenced by the environment and by white supremacy. Some of that is. What can we do about it? So Will Cho talks about that in your podcast. Is self-development, self-care, right? And so let me ask you something, man. After like you've got the once you got the Ivy League status, like, so were you able to date more women? Did you see that trend happen now, or what happened, if I may ask? You don't have to get too personal with the details. Yeah.
No, I can answer that question. I just have this. You said it's influenced by white supremacy. You got cut off there.
Oh yeah, that some of those WMAF couplings are influenced by race,
White supremacy,
and part of that is white supremacy and racism. Okay. Now, again, and I'm going to reiterate what some of your other guests have said. Not all WMAF couplings are a product of white supremacy. However, I believe that race, no matter what, however small or minuscule, is some part of the equation, and that's going to be the case in every interracial or racial coupling. When I date an Asian woman, there's her race is part of it, because there's some cultural connection. We don't wear shoes in the house. We can eat fucking all this crazy food and not have to like make excuses to like the partner. There's some aspect of racial or cultural to the dating.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
To answer your question, I haven't tried to date since, like, here's the thing. I've always criticized Asian women for dating white guys, no matter how terrible they are. I'm in a position where first off, I'm pretty much sick of their shit. But, if I'm in a position where they know that I'm attracted to them, they see this blog and they're just like, oh, he sees that Asian women are using him as an experiment and he's going to date them anyways. If I already felt that Asian women thought that they were above the law, then they're going to act that way now. And it's going to influence itself in the relationship because they know it bothers me, and they're just like, he struggles with Asian women. That means that, if I'm pursuing him and he's dating me, that he'll probably put up with more shit than the average white guy because he probably can't find another Asian woman to date. And that's going to cross their mind. So they're going to start treating me in ways that they wouldn't necessarily treat white guys who they're more attracted to anyways. With that in mind, I've just focused on my journalism, my work. And I haven't really dated, honestly, in years, to be honest. That story that I gave you was like the last time I was on a dating site. That was in 2014, 2015. That I haven't really tried since. And I think that I'm better for it because I think I would have more stories and more anger. So I don't think that it's conducive to my health to try and pursue at this point. Obviously, I've ran into some Asian women that weren't like that, particularly in the podcast that I've done. But the numbers just aren't there, and my patience is worn very thin. The first thing, like I said before, that I would want is for Asian women to stop the gaslighting, stop the pointing the finger at everybody else. You need to understand when you're dating a person who isn't white, when you've dated a bunch of white guys, that at this point you look suspicious, just as how you think that a person who dates Asian women only, who's not Asian, is suspicious. You had that mark. You gotta.
Yep.
You have to recognize that what you did to others is now being put on you, and you have to own that. And trying to blame men for looking at you and being suspicious is not their fault. There's just a lot. You have to have a willing to have a conversation, and I don't see a lot of Asian women really willing to engage unless there's something that they can gain from it, which is either notoriety, virtue signaling, or money. I'll be frank with you, Asian women aren't into Black and Hispanic men unless you have something of status, because in their eyes, your race is a strike. And if you're looking at it from that kind of racist perspective, I got a problem. I'm not really thinking about dating at this point. In these interviews, I don't really try to get into like what I'm doing. I try to show the perspective or whatever. But at this point, somebody who's a woman who would want to talk about this stuff, you gotta watch this stuff and understand the baggage that comes with hearing some of the things that I've heard from some Asian women on this channel, to even want to be in my orbit. But I'm not interested in dating. I'm really just happy being single at this point.
Do you know this? Sorry, did you have well, just to follow up with that, man.
Yeah.
There's a trauma specialist, addiction specialist named Gabor Mate, Mate, and he's talked on the Russell Brand podcast, and he's talked to some other people as well, and he talks about trauma. So I'm going to share you my personal story and something I've been dealing with this dating. So it's been about 7 years since my last serious relationship. All right. And that was with an Asian woman. I don't think race has much to do with it. It was more that I was heartbroken, right? And it took me a long time to get over that breakup. During that time of 7 years, there was a long period of time that I didn't have sex for a while, right? And as a man, I connected my self-worth to...
1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
My order stopped recording.
Okay.
It's not. I'm not being rude. I literally just don't have.
No. Yeah, you want to restart it?
It says it doesn't have enough space. What the fuck? Sorry, because I know you have to go soon. I'm
recording on my end, but then are you recording your audio though, or no?
I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I'm recording the audio. My camera is still working on my end, so like that's fine. But I don't have the screen recorder.
Oh, because you ran out of space on your laptop.
Yeah, that's not. So if you want to continue to go, it's gonna be. I don't know what to do with the space. I should have enough. What?
Well,
shit.
I'm recording on my end. I'm also recording your audio too. I don't know how good it is. I'm using like the Skype recorder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'll just put I'll put my face up and you can continue to go. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all good. Yeah. So I for a long time, I'll tell you my journey with dating is that I got into pickup for a while. And so like the mystery method, so outer game, like trying to pick up chicks, kind of like by negging and all these other dressing up weird and shit like that. Like I didn't get hell into it, but I looked at these systems and tried to get something from them. Like, And one thing they talk about, and that Will Cho talks about, is evolutionary biology, right? Like women, like real talk. So we grew up in tribes of like 150 people or so, right? And back in the cave times, right? All of us. And women, they're because they're physically less strong. They have less testosterone in their system. They survive through hypergamy. And what's hypergamy is basically seeking out men with higher status, who are physically stronger, blah blah blah. In our society now, physically stronger is not so much as big of a deal as having a bigger wallet, you know? So these are things that are, like, as much as women try to get out of their system, it's part of our nature. The same reason why you and I, let's be honest, we probably look for attractive women. We look for physically attractive women because of, childbearing, blah, blah, blah. And there's a case to be made, like how unfair that is, like certain social beauty standards, okay? So I looked into this stuff, and then I started looking into something called Models by Mark Manson, and he talks about attracting women through honesty, right? And there's also another book called No More Mr. Nice Guy by, was it Robert Glover? But yeah, No More Mr. Nice Guy. And he talks about not being like an asshole, but he just talks about not being a manipulative nice guy, being nice for the sake of trying to get sex or something from women, okay? Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, as I was becoming frustrated in the dating scene, having not had sex for years, I was beginning to realize that part of the reason, let's be honest, some of the reason was my race, okay? We're not going to take that out of the discussion completely. Another part of the equation was my neediness, the need for validation from women, and the need for to use sex from women as a way to increase my feeling of self-worth, okay? And my feeling of I'm a man, right? No woman wants to be fucking used for that shit, you know? And maybe some of them sense that. And also some of them, this one girl told me oh, hey James, you look kind of maybe mixed. I'm like, what? You mean part white? She's like, oh yeah. And then she told me, and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't say what the fuck, but I was like, and then she told me, James, no, that's a compliment. And I was just like, what the fuck? And real talk, I still wanted to sleep with her. But at that point, I realized I was so desperate that I'd be willing to sleep with a girl who did not align with my belief system, who aligned with white supremacy or white patriarchy. Yeah. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I had to look at myself. We're talking about hey man, we should point the feminine, we should call out injustice or hypocrisy when we see it. And also I have to be willing to look at that hypocrisy in myself. That poison that in myself. And I'm going to speak for myself because that's the only person I can speak for. So I began to look at myself and my own trauma. When I was a young kid, because my parents had to work full time, both of them, I spent months as an infant away from my mother and my father, and I had to be taken care of by my grandparents, and I went to Taiwan back and forth, and that shit fucks you up, and I didn't know this at the time. I'm a kid, I'm a child. I didn't really understand why this feelings of needing women to validate me, where this came from. And I looked at my child passport. I was like, oh shit, I was away from my mom from 6 months one time, you know? That's gonna fuck a kid up. David Cho, he's controversial subject. He's a Korean American artist. He talked about being away from his mom for 3 months and living in Korea, and how that's basically that, and the LA riots fucked him up for a lot of his life. And he was a sex addict. He was a huge sex addict, and he was able to do so because he was a millionaire. Now here's me. I have sexual addiction tendencies, but I'm not a millionaire. I don't have the status, right? I can't fuck the rainbow. Well, I tried, real talk. I was on the dating apps come on, let's. But what am I doing? I'm using these women. I'm objectifying women, okay? And I looked at this and I noticed the poison in myself. All right. So, what am I talking about? So, something that's missing, I think, probably in your discussions with the other guests. Will Choke, I think he's right. Self-development. You gotta work on yourself. These are the things that you can't change. What are the things that we can change? We can change ourselves. We can change our perspective. But what's also needs to be talked about, and something that you're bringing up, is the system, the systemic racism. This is racism based on racist policies in the U.S. Also, because of and I don't want to speak too briefly for the Hispanic community, but like I'm listening to like this American History podcast, and like, yeah, dude, America did some really fucked up shit to Mexico and stealing California and Texas, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of shit that went down during that time, and those policies, and there's that trauma. There's this racial trauma that is passed down to us. You for your own, Hispanic, Latino, Latinx experience. Me for my own Asian immigrant experience. I was fucking the other day, like last year, I was at like a taqueria and I was trying to get some tacos, right? And there's this white guy. He's like, "Hey, dude, this is not a Chinese restaurant." And I was like, I looked at the sign, like, I thought, like, maybe, am I crazy? Am I not at the taqueria that I was trying to get to? And I realized, oh, this guy's being fucking racist. This guy's being racist. And what's happened with the Trump administration is that, oh, shit, we could be more vocal about our racism, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing that with the fucking mass shooters. Yep. We're seeing that with all these mass shooters are white guys, So what's going on there? Let's talk about that. So, but there's Asian American shooters as well. There's anger in, but like it's much less. There was like the Korean guy years back in Virginia Tech shooter. So, I think we need to talk about loneliness in men, right? We got like that's something we this is slightly off topic from the WMAF, but it's kind of related because like L.A. Rogers felt like his ancestry, he felt like women owed him something, and like what was not talked about was how he killed his Asian roommates. I think that became more apparent afterwards, but like they talked about how the media focused on how he was killing women. And targeting women, but guess what? He was killing Asian guys. He killed his Asian roommates first. He fucking stabbed them. So what I'm trying to talk about, man, is this idea of self-worth, this idea of trauma and understanding where we're all trying to look for love, and there's trauma that comes in many different forms. The trauma from the separation with our parents, not feeling loved. And the racial trauma that comes from the systemic oppression that this country was fucking built on. Okay? Let's talk about that. And when we talk about the anger when you talk, like, this anger that I had, that you have, this anger towards Asian women, or Asian American women, no, man, I feel you. But I don't think we can live there. You can't live there. I can't live there. Because living in that anger is fucking killing me. So I think I commend you, man. I commend you for this podcast. I commend you for talking and reaching out to those women that are probably like you fucking hate. Like, real talk, some of those women, like you talk, yeah, some of those women that you probably had, I commend you for reaching out and talking to those women. That's something I want to do more of too. And that's something I'm trying to be more understanding, because I fucking love women. I love, I love my mom. I love my sister. I love the women, the lovers, the female lovers in my life. And I have a fucking niece now, man. So this is shit. Like, so okay. At the end of the day, if people can understand the trauma that they've experienced and the suffering that they've experienced, and not take that suffering out on others, because that's what's happening, man. For these Asian American women that are causing suffering to you, to Asian American men, to the Asian American men that are causing suffering to these Asian American women. The source of that is trauma. The source of that is from a systemic, from racism, and is also from trauma that has happened in our own personal lives. And that's why I think everyone should meditate like 10 minutes a day, and 2, everyone should get some like therapy, dog. Like everyone should get some. I mean, and we need like a healthcare.
I can't hear you.
One
meditate.
Meditate. Like
just you're not there.
One meditate. Can you hear me now? Yep.
Yeah, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, one is like meditate. So what does that mean? Just sitting and just being present with yourself and mindful, and feeling these anger, like feeling whatever thoughts come, and doing maybe like 10 minutes a day, just being mindful of that. 2 is shit. Oh, what was it? Yeah, meditation, and then like shit. And 2, understanding that they should get therapy. A lot of people should get. I think maybe everyone should get therapy, because a lot of the pain that you feel, that I feel, like it comes from somewhere. Now, when we talk about racial trauma, though, I don't think that's not talked about enough in therapy. And the stuff that you talk about, the racial issues, that's not talked about enough. But I think everyone should also get therapy to be more self-aware. So, at the end of the day, all these articles, all these people, Yowei Shaw, all these people, I thank them for trying to attempt to be more self-aware. I have to give them credit for that, man. And sure, they're flawed. Maybe they're perfectly flawed in some ways of their approach. But I have to give them props for the step, and I gotta give you props for calling out the missteps that you find. Okay? Because guess what? The important thing is to have the discussion, to have the debate, and in a way change behavior. Okay? Right? Okay. Not just for you and me, man. For the next generation, okay? Because we're probably getting up there. I don't know how old you are, but we're getting up there, right? So we gotta talk about this for ourselves in the present, and also for the children, man. It's for the kids.
I wanted to mention about 11 minutes ago, I was able to delete something on my computer and get more space to record the screen recorder. I wanted to mention one more thing. Just it popped into my mind because you were talking about my blog. Just to add to the anger, like again, 4 years ago, I interviewed this woman. I think episode 60, part 3. Christiana Trong is a model. Got really on my ass about liking Asian women and talked about the objectification of Asian women. Blah blah blah. And then what did she do 2 years later? And I'll put this in the video. She was posing nude online. So you care so much about being objectified about that, but then when it comes to money or like furthering your own modeling career, you're willing to pose nude and be objectified. Like, this is the shit that I'm talking about that fuels the anger. You know, if Asian women want to have a discussion, point to that bullshit before you get mad at people getting angry at you. But, you know, I don't want to rehash something that we've already discussed. I did feel the need to say that, though, because that's something that's been weighing on my mind for a long time, and you were talking about previous videos, and that just sparked that reminded me of that. Yeah, I don't know. I think you summed it up pretty well. My last question was going to be, what was your advice? But I think the idea of therapy and the understanding that like there is trauma there, and looking to address that trauma is something that is the advice that I would give. So I don't really have any more questions. And I know you have to go soon, but I did want to thank, because you said 9:20 or 6:25 your time.
I got a little bit of time, yeah.
I wanted to thank you for doing this, and if you had anything else to add, I said everything. Unless you had any other questions for me, that's fine. I can answer that.
Dude, hey man, I could talk about this shit all day, like real talk.
Can I ask one thing? When we're done with this, could you send me the audio file, because there were many times where it got cut off, and I don't want.
No problem, man. I got you. Yeah, I got you.
I'll use the audio file from you.
To circle back about the Asian model, posing nude, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. I think the female form or the human body is beautiful. Now, what you're alluding to, from what I understand, is that maybe the intentions of posing nude are flawed in the sense that she is trying to objectify herself for money. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know what her intentions are. I can't speak to her, and she was calling you out on objectify like your preference for Asian women. Well, I don't know. If you want, we can have that conversation, but I don't know. It sounds like your preference for Asian women comes from your upbringing, and maybe you have appreciation for the culture. I don't know, but in her particular case, man, I think her posing nude is fine, but I don't know. I haven't listened to that podcast of how she was attacking you.
Very old.
It's very old.
But no, she posed nude in 2017. I'm gonna put.
Yeah.
I saw it. Whatever. She posed nude in 2017. I don't care if women pose nude. That's not the problem. The problem is that Asian women, it's always the ones that talk about yellow fever and being objectified that are either dating white guys or playing into that objectification. How are you going to talk about Asian women being over-sexualized and you're a model who 2 years later after talks about posing nude? Like, it's always the ones that get so concerned about social justice and Asian women being objectified that end up doing the most suspect shit. It's like it's always that. It's always the ones that get so caught up in having their dating lives policed, wanting to police everybody else's dating lives, that always have skeletons in their closet. Like, it's always that. It's ridiculous. It's never the Asian women who just say, "Oh, you like Asian women? That's fine." Like, maybe they may have some preferences that are suspect, but they're not going out on a social justice campaign telling everybody else how to live their lives. It's always the ones that act that way that have skeletons in their closet. It's like projection. That's my problem. Like, you get what I mean?
I get what you mean, and I'm going to tell you the anger that they feel, just like the anger you and I feel, or you and I feel different forms of anger. But the anger that they feel, their form of anger, comes from someplace as well. I've dated Asian women that have told me that like some guys would come up to them and say konnichiwa, and or say some really fucking racist shit to them. Like, these women, they have felt trauma as well. And that girl that you mentioned, she's probably felt some of that trauma as well from fetishization. That's real. And there's a case in Washington where the group of I think it was two white guys and a woman, they were targeting I think Asian women to kidnap and rape and kill. Okay?
In the march?
What's that?
In a march?
No, this was in Washington. This was like a murder case that happened a few years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically they had been watching Japanese porn or something, or they thought Asian women were so sexy and they wanted to basically capture them, rape them, and kill them. There's also the case of Zhang Yingying. She was a student who was there was a white guy that basically posed as an undercover cop and said, "Hey, I can give you a ride," and she was raped and murdered. And there was and they looked at his hard drive, and his hard drive has some really fucked up porn on there, including Asian shit. So there's that. Where does that fetishization? That shit comes from real shit, There's real pain there too, okay. And I think that's something. That's where they're coming from, and that's something I worry about for my niece and the next generation. Is fetish, basically, what is yellow fever? At the end of the day, it's dehumanization. Okay? Dehumanization. Basically, there's a movie, Pretty Little Things, where he has sex with a Asian hooker, and he fucks her so hard that he kills her because he pushes her head against a a pointy thing or something, and basically just totally dehumanizes the girl to a piece of meat, and that's murdered. Okay? And then you hear the SNL guy, the new one that got hired, right? Him saying all this racist shit about Asian people, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm just pushing the envelope." And so where that pain from, where that anger comes from Asian American women, that's real too. I'm not going to deny that. I think that you might have a point where it's oh, what about the other side from the Asian American male perspective? That we need more because there it seems to be in the media, there seems to be more Asian American female perspectives so far that we've seen from the research you and I, from the articles. But so we've heard this before, but that shit's real, dude, and that's where that anger comes from. So I'm not saying that like, so when someone says like, so when someone questions your preference for Asian women, there is a biological self-protection mechanism going on. You know, that's where that's coming from. Now, there's also some racism there because, there's probably some racism there too because you're Latino. Like, let's be real. So, and that's fucked up too. So, I think I get what you're saying, but I think. Dude, man, we gotta build empathy. All right, we got like what I forget it was Tupac or something. We gotta stop cutting each other's throats. You know, we gotta have empathy. This gender divide in the Asian American community is real. We gotta talk about that. But at the end of the day, man, we're all one fucking community. We're all looking for love, and we're all looking for connection. And I hope the best for you. I hope the best for your listeners. I hope for the best for myself too.
Appreciate that. Also, I'm half black, half Latino. I know I don't look like it, but like I was, I'm biracial. That's why it was. That's why the black and Hispanic stuff. Like I talk about the black issue as well.
Yeah, I noticed you were lumping it all the time. I was like, okay, all right.
I'm half. I'm not fully Hispanic, but
gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to say anything more to get into another rant about okay.
I feel you, man.
I think what I understand is that you're trying to balance, you're trying to give more perspectives from other sides of the aisle, I guess, if they're whatever this aisle is, but other sides of the gender and like the people. So I think another podcast would be like looking. Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to understand maybe why you have the preference, but and then why she was calling you out. I get that. So that's why I was. Anyways, I think we'll have to end it here. But I really appreciate the talk and thank you so much for your time, man.